do the record thing again. Hey, Ali, everyone can hear me. So if you can't, one thing you need to know is if you can't hear me, then I can't hear you. So I didn't know that you were trying to tell me. I couldn't see the chat box. So you're going to have to wave at me or scream. I mean, I couldn't hear you, or I could see you, but you weren't moving either. So everything was frozen up. So we're good now? If it happens again, Lou, you're going to have to, somebody at the top of the screen.
I will pick up. Yep, I was about to jump in for you.
Some sort of sign, because I missed it. I totally missed it. I was just chatting along. Okay, so what I want, if you missed anything in the last few minutes, that's okay. Let's just start fresh with things that are happening for members only that are new for you. And I'll make a short video about this and I'll post it in the membership page because we want you to be a little more visible on the membership page. We want you to be more visible on the fan page, which is approaching 12,000 people. And we want to draw you out a little more. It benefits you. It's a win-win situation. I think it benefits you and I think it benefits NACWI. So one of the first things we want you to do is make at least a 30-minute phone appointment with me, and there's the link to do that. We can post that link in the, well, we can post it in the chat room when I figure out where I am. My little control bar is totally missing. Anywho. We want you to have a proud member square. If you already have one and you can send it to me or to Allie, that would be great. We're sort of trying to sneak through a bunch of different places and collect them, and Christina's trying to help us do that. If you don't already have one, it requires a headshot and a quote from you of what NACWI has meant to you. And you can use it any way you want to, and then we can use it as well. We want you to have more educational presentation opportunities. So to do that, you need to talk to me first. You need to have a proud member square. You need to be an affiliate. You need to be in the membership directory. We can help you get there in all of those places. Affiliate sign up takes 2 or 3 minutes, maybe, if that much, and it's done. And every time you invite a new member in, you get $50. So, membership directory takes a little bit longer, and you do need to already have some things. You need to have a decent headshot, or that proud member square is what we would prefer. And you need to have your URLs ready, your website, your social media URLs ready to go, or else it'll take it a little bit longer. And if you have any trouble walking through that, Callie can help. So that way, as an educational expert, you can be a webinar expert, or you can offer a course. You can do it live or not live. There's my bar. That was weird. It doesn't matter. Then we want marketing opportunities to be available to you. Are those chats for me? Okay. No. Then we want you to have marketing opportunities. This is what that looks like. Weekly, when we have Marketplace Monday on Mondays, on the member page, we're going to also be having that on the fan page. You should be popping in there with a special. It has an explanation on this square, the Marketplace Monday square, of what we want from you. We want your why. Why do you do what you do? Who are you? Where are you from? And what are your URLs, especially if you have a special to offer at that time. You should be popping in there. If you're doing 3 different things, then one week you'll put the first thing in, another week you'll put the second thing in, another week you'll put the third thing in. I'm preaching to the choir here. I'm not doing it, but I'm going to start doing it. I got a Word document and started writing out exactly, Karen, what would you say for each of your entrepreneur entities? And that way all I have to do is go to that Word document, copy paste it, pop it in there every week, or change it up a little bit if I have a new special to offer. But you should be in there. People are looking in there. People are asking, where can I find somebody who does such and such? Where can I find somebody who does such and such? And I can say, go to Marketplace Monday. Marketplace Monday. We're going to do that on the fan page of 12,000 people as well. If you've gone through this interview with me and we've got your square and some things lined up. So to be in marketing opportunities, also same requirements. You need to have talked to me. You need to have a proud member square, be an affiliate, be in the membership directory. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to interview you. And we're going to post, both of us review that interview, dress it up the way that we want to, add some art to it, cut where we messed up out, whatever you want to do. And then we're going to, when you're ready and you have a day that you can sit in front of your computer and pop in 2 or 3 times that day, we're going to post your interview in the membership page and in the fan page. And you're the featured person of the day. And so all day long, you can just come in under that interview and talk with people, share your specials, what you have to offer, do Facebook Live. We'd have to add you as an admin for that day so that you can do a Facebook Live in there. You can do whatever you want to in there. And you promote you. You'll have other options to be on Wee Wednesday. Diane used to do Wee Wednesday, and it was only open to her operational team. And we want it to be open to members. So you could do a Wee Wednesday once during the year. If you don't know how, we'll talk during the interview about how that goes on both pages, member and non-member pages. And then you have an option to be a pre-conference speaker at the conference next year. So at the conference next year, the day before, we're going to have, or the first day, we're going to have different people for an hour have a section of the conference room, and then different people can come and be in your pre-conference. So I saw this done at another place, and they charged for those pre-conference sessions. So we might do that. We might say, look, you have time to pop into 4 different pre-conference sessions. It's this many dollars per session. So for the day, it's $40. And then you go in, and then everybody gets a little bit of money for being the featured speaker. Anyway, we're developing, as you can tell, that's developing. So I want you to know about that because I think you should take advantage of it. So let's start having conversations about that, and let's get Janie in here. If you have questions about that, if you'll private message me those, it'll help me when people start coming in for the interviews to already be able to answer some of those questions. Janie? You're muted, and I'm not. I'll mute me.
Here,
And you
that's
can...
better.
All right. Hit it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen here. Nice white screen. Okay, and I do that on purpose so that you can see this. This is basically what's on my website. So this is more or less my branding. Karen wanted me to share the contact information that I had on there at the end of my presentation last week. She wanted me to share it at the beginning. So this is my contact information. It's my website and my email address, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I have a portfolio on Behance, which is shortened to B.net. Okay. So today we're going to talk more about branding. It's more than just a logo. So what is branding? Just to recap, branding is defined as a way of identifying your business. It's how your customers recognize and experience your business. Basically, a strong brand, it's not just a logo, but it's reflected in everything from your customer service to the uniforms your staff wear, if they wear uniforms, to the way your facility or office is decorated, to even the clothes that you wear, to your website, your marketing materials, and advertising, obviously. Why is brand identity important? We talked a little bit about brand identity last week. It's more than a marketing buzzword. Brand identity basically makes it clear what you stand for, what your voice is, makes you recognizable, makes you stand out from a crowd, and helps you create a relationship with your prospects and customers. So now we're going to move on to part 2, which is what are the visual elements of my brand identity. So the elements, and we talked about this last June, but the visual elements of your brand identity are, of course, your logo, your colors, typography, images, and design elements, or it also can be referred to as style. So what makes a logo good? Needs to be simple. Don't try to tell your whole story in your logo, although sometimes the whole story can be told in a simple logo. For instance, FedEx, we talked about last week how the arrow is developed through the negative space in the X, in the word X. Moving forward, going fast, the delivery, that kind of tells the story if you know it's there. Obviously, some people don't know it's there, but and then of course the Nike swoosh, that tells a story, and it's classic. Versatile, it needs to look good in many situations. Space allotted for logos aren't always the same, aren't always the same shape. So you have rectangular spaces and square spaces. And so sometimes you need multiple versions or orientations. All of these logos are versatile as is, except for maybe the Harley Davidson logo, because and the Starbucks and the NBA, because if you reduce them, those words are going to go away. So of course they have different logos for those different options, and we'll talk about that some more later. Adaptable. It should be able to adapt to black and white, grayscale, even 2 or 3 color versions. All of these logos are adaptable. The FedEx logo converts the X to an outline or grayscale shape in black and white. The NBA logo goes all black, or the red side is grayscale. What you see that is orange on the Harley Davidson logo is white. Now also Harley Davidson has an option for their scalable, smaller version, and I'm getting ready to talk about the scalable. It needs to be able to go really, really small, and obviously the Harley Davidson logo is not going to go really, really small and still be legible. So basically they take the words out, and it's just the shapes. So you've got to have these options when you think about your logo, for all the different things that you want to use. Memorable, recognizable, you know what it means when you see it. Timeless, not trendy. Now, Coca-Cola logo was trendy in the time that it was created, but it's become timeless because that trend made it timeless. So there are times when trendy works and times when trendy is not going to last more than a few years. The anatomy of logo. So you have your logo mark, which is also a brand mark or a symbol. And they typically don't have any words on them, like the WWF logo, the Nike logo, the Toyota logo, even the Sun Microsystems logo, even though it technically does have the word Sun in it. Logo type is stylized words like FedEx and Coca-Cola and Disney. An icon, all logos can be and should be turned into an icon, especially if you have a website, because you're going to want the fave icon in the tab of your website instead of just going with a generic icon. Seals, typically a graphic or image in the shape of a circle with words going through and or around it. Starbucks, Virgin, even Harley Davidson, and of course ABC, those are all considered seals. Tagline or slogan, a lot of times the tagline is integrated with the logo. A good example of that is LG, Life's Good. That's the name, but their name is LG, which stands for Life's Good, so their tagline is Life's Good, and they have an interesting way of integrating that, and we'll actually talk about that next week when I talk about branding guides of popular brands. I'll show you that. Versions, like we talked about before, different shapes and sizes are needed for different applications. So horizontal, stack, square, that sort of thing. So that's what the versions are. Okay, so here's some logos that I've designed. All of these logos except for DAPCO have other versions, stacked or horizontal or whatever. Exclaim, after you opt in, the app communicates with you via your phone when you cross paths with a vendor. So therefore the X signifies the paths crossing, and the triangle signifies communication and the point in which the communication happens. So I am telling the whole story in a simplified logo. And then the club at Los Rios is a golf course and a recreation facility and a venue. So at first glance, the logo is a tree. But if you look at it again, you might see a golf ball on a tee, or people having fun with a glow around them. So there mix several meanings to the logo. The Dabco, his son came up with the logo type, but he wanted something more professional. So I cleaned up the logo type and added the logo mark on the top and the bar on the bottom, and extended the A past the bar just to give it some movement and excitement. It has a masculine yet dramatic appeal, and he's been doing quite well with that. I quote Hub, they quote auto, home, life, and business insurance. So basically that says it all right there. Let me see. Now this is another version of the iQuote Hub, and so I'm showing you that right here is the logo mark, and right here is the logo type for that logo. Sometimes when you have to have an icon, you can put just the logo mark in the icon. And you see the fave icons up here. And this is an icon for like an app. And then this is a seal. Okay, so getting it designed, you have options depending on your budget and what your needs are right now. There's crowdsourcing like 99 Designs and Design Crowd. But I would use Brand Crowd or Logo My Way, because they specialize in logos. So you might get better results from that. You get lots of options, you name your price, but you still have to be aware of plagiarism, because a lot of those artists that compete in those contests use clip art and stuff that they found somewhere else. And it's great for the client because, like I said, you get to name your price and you get tons of options to choose from. And they're coming from hungry designers that are vying for your approval, and they're wanting to have stuff for their portfolio. And all that work, and only one person gets chosen, and that only that one person gets paid. So it's kind of not good for the designer. It is good for some of them to give them experience and give them a way to break into the market. So in that way, it's good. Do-it-yourself logo generators like Taylor Brands, free logo services, Logo Joy, Canva. Canva's good, but when you do these, they're not original, and they're not always free. At the end, you still might have to pay for something, so just be careful about that. Cheap logos like through Fiverr and Remote, they are easy access, but beware again of plagiarism and hidden upcharges. Stock or ready-made logos, Brands of the World, and has another section that's called stock logos, and they have some really good secondhand logos. Ready-made are the way we designers take our rejects that didn't get picked. Like I did several other designs for iQuote Hub that were pretty darn good, and I did several other designs for the club at Los Rios, and so I'm going to repackage them and put them on logo stock for resale. They're perfectly good logos, but and maybe somebody else could use them. So professionals, typically it's original work, but still beware of plagiarism. Stay away from trendy unless that's what you want and that's what your brand needs, because sometimes a brand needs to be trendy. Pricing varies. All usually have pricing packages and experience counts. So just make sure that you get somebody who's experienced. Okay. You need to have lots of different file formats for lots of different things that you're going to have your logo on. And you're going to make sure that you get at least one vector file from your art, from whoever designs it. A vector file is made up of lines, so it can be scale. It can scale all the way down to nothing and all the way up to a billboard size. If you don't have a vector file, then you're limited to the raster files that you have, whether they're high res or low res, and whether they have a background or no background. Raster files are pixel based. If it's a ping file, it can have a transparent background. But if it's a JPEG, it does not have a transparent background. Vector files would be EPS files or Illustrator files. And there's a few others, but those are the main ones. So make sure you get at least one vector file from your designer, always. Print and screen display. Print is 300 dpi minimum. Screen display is 72 dpi minimum. So basically there's a big difference in print display and screen display. So if you get a logo designed for your website and you get all the files for your website, and then later you want to print a brochure, all of a sudden you don't have the right logo you need, and you don't know who designed the logo. You can't go back and get it done. So it has to be redone. It has to be recreated in order for it to work in a brochure. A lot of times that happens. It doesn't happen all the time, but just be aware of that. Okay. And so here's the resources for that. The do-it-yourself, I would recommend Canva over some of the others, and stock or ready-made, a logo stock from Brands of the World, and crowdsourcing, Logo My Way, and Brand Crowd. Okay, colors. Why are colors part of your brand? Well, because colors convey emotions. They're not just for your logo. There's accent colors that complement your logo. And some brands you probably are aware of are known by their colors. For instance, UPS, brown means reliable, friendly. Then there's McDonald's, has the yellow and the red, and it's happy, fun, exciting. I don't know about that, but that's what that says. Starbucks, green, refreshing, satisfying. Pepsi, red and blue, exciting, energetic, youthful, and maybe even patriotic. So there are color schemes also that you can have for your color schemes, and this wheel has a perfect way of I'm going to do something really quick here. I'm going to hide myself. Okay. Sorry, go back. Okay, so analogous basically is a group of three colors that are next to each other. So it might be the yellow, orange, and orange. Those would be analogous colors that you can put together. Or monochrome, obviously, is one color, a one-color system. Triad is, it makes a triangle. So primary colors are triad and secondary colors are triads. And then complementary colors are opposite on the color wheel. So violet and yellow would be complementary colors, orange and blue. And then tints, using tints of colors, you have to be very careful about that because, for example, a red becomes pink, and that might not be what you want. And okay, let's see. So the colors also convey emotions, like we talked about earlier. This is a great wheel for that. It shows like the emotions that each of these colors carry. Now, and this over here is from colors.co. They will take a photograph. Say you have a photograph or an image that you really like the colors in, and you want to use the colors in that photo for your color palette. You can upload the photo, and then it'll give you a color palette, and you can randomize it and get until you get the color palette that you want. It's really cool. You should check it out. But just looking at these colors, these colors are nice. They're kind of muted, but they're not on this color wheel. So, but if you look at it, it's kind of in this area here. And so friendliness, passion, trust, authority. There's some of the blues in here would be what I would say that this color palette represents. So color space, when you're working in a color space, there's things you got to think about. RGB is made with light, so that's for the monitor. And so basically when you put them all together, they have an absence of color. So, and CMYK, when you put, is made with ink. So when you put them all together, it makes a solid black color. But the K in CMYK is black, so you can overprint just a solid black too. This is what is called a rich black, and then there's a solid black. PMS is a custom color. It's a Pantone matching system is what it is. That I could have also said Pantone there, because a lot of people refer to it as Pantone. And then black and white or grayscale is another color space. Now, RGB versus hex, basically they're the same thing, but hex is a number system for the RGB values, whereas RGB values are, well, hex is numbers and letters combined. So it's a little advanced, but you have to have the hex numbers for your web developers and that sort of thing. You can have the RGB values, but hex numbers are better. Next week, I'm going to show you some branding guides, and it's going to show you some color palettes and how their other companies, as well as the branding guides that I have done, have all of these different formulas for your color palettes, because you're going to need them sooner or later for one thing or another. Okay, resources for that: Adobe Color CC. It's a color palette making system, just like that Coolers.co that has the upload the image system. You can also get color schemes and color palettes on Pinterest. It's a good place to go. And then of course Pantone for the Pantone matching system. Okay, now we're going to talk about typography. Why do fonts contribute to your, what do fonts contribute to your brand identity? I believe fonts convey an attitude. They can set the tone of your website, whether it be sassy, elegant, smart, sexy, young, old. Some important things to remember about fonts on your website as part of your brand. Web fonts versus print fonts. Not all font formats are available on the web. Also, there are fonts that read better on the web than they do in print, and vice versa. Choose fonts that are similar for both. There are a couple of online font sources that are easily accessible for websites: Google Fonts, Adobe Edge Web Fonts with Typekit. Sticking to these fonts and their print counterparts is a good idea. Most, if not all, WordPress themes come with these font sources, so you don't have to worry about your font being a web font or a print font. Free fonts don't always come with a license to use on the web or for commercial use, so be careful about that. The basic rule of thumb is to only use 2 font families in anything that you do. 3 if you absolutely must, but that one of the 3 should be used sparingly. Google has, these are the top 10 Google font pairings that they use on their websites. But these are also good font pairings for using in print or something similar. You find similar fonts than these. And what do they say about the brand? Like this Fair Play Display Italic with the Open Sans. Open Sans is a very popular font. It's used on a lot of websites, and it's also used in print. But I think it says playful, fun, young. Whereas this one over here with the bold sans serif and the serif Meriwether face, and it's also, like I said, it's a good idea to mix serif and sans serif. Serif means it has a little feet on it. Those are serifs, and sans serif means it doesn't have them. So it's good to mix the two types of fonts. This one to me says sophisticated and serious. Okay, here's some more, and you see that here's a mix of two different sans serif fonts, and here's a script font mixed with a sans serif. So it's the rule of thumb is it doesn't have to be exact. If they look like they go together, then they go together. Just be careful about it. Josephine Sans with Libra to me is clear, technical, to the point, smart. The Old Standard with Cabin, this one here, is retro, vintage, Old Spice, kind of like old. Railway Light with PT Sans is modern, bright, energetic, young. And the Parisian with Merriweather to me looks European, classy, kind of stylish and elegant. Then we have Sacramento with Source Sans is retro, sophisticated, even sexy. Although I would use the Sacramento a little bit larger, balancing it better. And then the Lato, low-key, normal, neutral. The Quicksand, sassy, energetic, young. And Oswald Bold might be newspaper or newsworthy or timeless. So some typography resources. I like typewolf.com because that is a blog about type, and he's very passionate about fonts and typography, and I go there for a lot of insight, and I even get his newsletter, so it's really a nice place to go. And then fontpair.co is just a randomized font pairing, and you just kind of click through it and see what pairs look good to you, and then you go, oh, that's the one I want. So it's really kind of a fun thing to go and look at. Free or name your price font. The free fonts, you can get Font Squirrel, 1001 Fonts, DeFont, etc. There's lots of them out there. Some good quality, decent, name your price type fonts are Lost Type Co-op, Deviant Art, and even Behance has some. Behance is a portfolio site, and a lot of artists make fonts and sell them on Behance. Web fonts, of course, we talked about Google Fonts, Adobe Edge web fonts through Typekit, and Font Awesome. Font Awesome is a collection of every icon you can possibly think of or want or need or desire, and it's pretty awesome. Okay, images. How can images reflect your brand? Well, going back to words and stories, images, picture paints 1,000 words kind of thing. What feelings do you want to evoke? Consider both color and content when you look at your images. Do you have products to sell? How will they be represented? Do the colors work with your color palette? If the colors of the products you sell don't work with your color palette, then you might want to reconsider your color palette. But if you don't want to reconsider your color palette and these products are just a small part of what you're selling and they really don't work with your color palette, you can possibly do something else with it. You can make them black and white or don't have images of your products, just have descriptions. But products are usually pretty important, so you want to consider that when you're trying to work out a color palette. Do you need to create custom images? You'd be amazed at what can be done with Photoshop, especially with somebody who knows what they're doing. They can cut out images and put them on something else and make it look like cut out a person and put them on a beach when they're really in their living room. And the lighting has to be just right and all that kind of stuff. But there's amazing things that can be done with Photoshop. So if you don't find an image that you want, maybe it can be created. Okay, so here's some thoughts about branding and images. On the this one, it's a spa, obviously. I mean, you look at this image here and you know right away that it's a spa. And I picked this one image specifically for the yellow flowers and the expression on her face of being 100% completely satisfied with what was going on. And and then on here, he has this is the Exclaim Mobile that I was talking about, where, you know, when you cross paths with a vendor, it pops up on your phone. So this is in a marketplace, and the color just fits perfectly with the color of the website and with their brand colors. And so that was a nice little touch on that. So some online resources for images are free images you can get at Pixabay, Unsplash, and Pexels. But I would just warn you that they're limited. There's not a whole lot that you can choose from there. The pay-as-you-go or bank credits are things like Creative Market, Envato Marketplace that has Photo Dune and Graphic River. They also have a few other divisions like for web WordPress themes and stuff like that. Theme Forest, I think. Lightstock is a Christian stock company, and they claim that they don't have any cheesy Christian images, so that's good. But it's a great source for Christian-based images. And then subscription-based, of course, you have Shutterstock and Adobe Stock and others. All right, and then the last thing that we want to talk about with the elements of brand identity is design elements. I don't have more examples here, and I should have done that. But anyway, graphic flourishes, icons, even illustration styles, round corners, pattern backgrounds, those are all design elements. My ladybug and her little trail line is a design element too. So design elements can be like your brand signature. When somebody sees that design element, even before they see the logo, before they see anything else, they see that design element and they know that it's your brand. So the design elements can be just as important as all of the other elements. So next week, we're going to talk about part 3, which is the branding. Why is a branding guide so important? And we'll answer this question and explore branding guides of other popular brands. We're also going to talk about how you can develop your own brand and brand identity. So. Thank you.
So let's do something.
Okay, but before
you can put it on your last. Oh, do you want to do your last slide thingy, and then let's do a deal. Do your last, and then.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple. I have some offers here. First, I'm going to tell you my brand identity pricing. This is my pricing. You can find it on my website. And for logos, and these are my initials. So I just a logo, options expand, and boundless choices. And so, but for NACWE, these are the prices. So you get 20% off.
So which one of those includes a full branding guide, or is that totally separate?
Totally separate. That's what I'm getting into right now. These all include a high-res JPEG or PNG file and a scalable EPS vector file.
And a print file.
Well, both of those would be printable.
Okay. And then?
And then this is the complete branding guide, which has, you'll see right here, a pre-sized files module. These are all the modules included in this complete branding book guide. The branded extras, you choose one of those. But the pre-sized files, I will give you every file you can think of that you need, or even files that you couldn't think of that I know that you need. So files for your social media posts, for your email signature, for your fave icons, your browsers, everything, every thing imaginable is what I give you with this Precise Files module. And I can do a complete branding guide on an existing logo or a new or one that I design. Okay, and for that, it is also a 20% off for NAPWE.
Is there a time limit, like by the end of the month or by the end of the year, or put you on the spot?
I actually kind of decided that this, if you're a NAPWE member, this is your price.
Cool. Okay. So if anybody's considering, I'm going to plug you. If anyone's considering doing this, talk with Janie voice to voice. And if you can, get her to flip through a branding guide for you that already exists. You will not believe. It goes on and on. It's pages and pages.
Next week I'm going to be flipping.
Flip through? Good. Okay. Yeah. And so the neat thing about it is I may not really remember RGBs and all of those things, but my team that takes this branding guide will understand all of that, and they'll be able to take this branding guide and use it on everything, website, social media, anything that they're designing for me. I really like that. So let's do a little exercise here. I'm inspired by the colors. I was inspired by a few things. I typed like a maniac in the chat box. But let's do this. Don't flip back to those color palettes. I'm going to ask you to flip back to those color palettes in a minute. But, and Lou, if you have an exercise you want to do, we'll pop you in after this. But here's what I want you to do, because I wrote down, what is your, okay, where did I write? What is the emotion that you're trying? Okay, so here's what I wrote down. So what's the attitude? What's the emotion that you really want to portray in your brand? So just thinking out loud, on the Rhema Counseling Associates, I thought, we're biblical counseling. We want to be nurturing. On the publishing house, I want to be empowering. I want people to really know that they can actually publish their book, right? On the Karen Borg website, I want to be I've said this over and over, and I don't even know what it means, but I want to be a bit sassy. I kind of want to come across as a little bit quirky, even. So only people who probably have traveled with me would get that part of me. I'm not sure what that word is that I'm looking for, but I want to convey it in my brand somehow. And then in NAC, we want to be enticing. We want people to come in. We want to be encouraging. We want to be empowering. You can do this, and you're not alone when you do this and that sort of thing. So what I want you to do is take one of your entities, I don't know what it is, and Judy's already in there. Girl, you are a go-getter. And put in the chat room or write on a piece or write on a piece of paper. Just take a minute. I'm not going to set a timer. We're just going to take a minute and write down some of those attitudes or some of those emotions that you really want to convey in your brand. And then Janie, I want you to pop. I will. I want you to pop that color.
Do y'all see me?
Yep.
Do y'all see me? Well, because I can't see myself anymore. I hit myself and I can't get it back. I don't know how to get it back.
I don't either. You were gone for a minute, but you're
okay.
Back for me now.
Okay, well, I'm totally gone for me, but that's okay. Okay, that's why I stopped to share, because I wanted to find myself.
Okay, and then don't pop the color wheel back up yet.
Okay.
And then maybe you're not thinking of, well, I'm not sure. I don't know what my attitude ought to be. I don't know what emotions I'm really trying to pull in here. But I do know what my colors already are. I do know that I love these colors. You can start there if you want to. So everybody's had a chance to type something in the chat box. And once a few people have typed in the chat box, we're going to go back and look at that color wheel and just do some playing around with it. Oh, the mountains. Okay, we've got some things. So Judy piped right in with safety, encouragement, sacred, valued. Judy, when I think of you and your entities, the valued comes across. at the top. Kim Smith, inspiring and empowering. Lou, vibrant and alive. Anybody else? And then let's pop up the color wheel and get some people in talking one by one. So we'll get Judy in first, then Kim, then Lou. Marcia said encouraging, hope, excitement, relevant. Oh my gosh. So let's pop in that order, Judy, Kim, Lou, Marcia, and talk about colors and talk about your keywords there. Judy, you want to pop in?
Yeah, I love seeing these other words because I would grab all of them to embrace. My logo is the tulip, and my thoughts have 3 petals, actually Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, subtly. And then I like it in like an oval because I've heard that is warmth and safety and kind of like an embryo, and with a sun at the top. So right now on my website, somebody has made everything yellow and pink and green, but I mean, there are a million different colors for tulips. So, and I like to dress in green. If I go out somewhere, I've always got something green on, whether that plays into you want to dress to match your logo or not.
So you said yellow and pink.
Yeah,
And
that's what somebody put on my website, and it's got green, I guess, green leaves with it. So I don't know whether they're the right colors or what.
yeah, I mean, and I think they're the right colors if they're the colors we like. But Janie, you want to pop in with comments or encouragements?
Yeah, I'm a little lost here because I don't know what's going on. But say that again. What was the question?
It's not a question. We're just talking about different colors that we love in our words. So Judy had said safety, encouragement, sacred, valued.
And how does that fit with your colors?
She's loving the colors, and someone who's created her website has put a lot of yellows and pinks, which I think are right along with what you're like, the friendly.
Yeah, optimism. That's a positive thing that you're wanting to convey. That kind of goes along with. I'm so lost. I can't even find things. Okay, yeah, safety, encouragement, sacred, valued. The red or pink has a safety also. I mean, it's not just what's on this color wheel. There's other things that, what do those colors evoke to you? Like for instance, my colors for me are confidence and passion and growth in my life, and growth as a designer and growth as a person. And so those, I think that even before I looked at this color wheel and then I look at it and I'm like, confidence is yellow. I have a yellowish color. It's kind of yellow green, but, and then growth is green, and then passion is red. And I added that red last year, but I've always felt like passion was part of my brand. And so that was a good addition. So you can, don't be discouraged just because, it's not on this color wheel, what you're feeling and what your colors are. If the colors work for you, fine, then it works. But it depends on whether it is something that conveys something totally different than what you're wanting.
So, Kim, pop in, Kim, and talk to us about your words and your colors, and we won't discuss them in a lengthy manner. We'll just talk about them. What do you love about your words and your colors, Kim Smith?
So my words that I wrote was empowering and inspirational, but hopeful also goes in there. But right now I'm using kind of a turquoise, so it's like between the green and the blue. And I would say the trust, honesty, authority, hope, growth, they kind of all cross over there.
Absolutely.
And then also the kind of a corally color, kind of between your pink, red, orange. So the passion and action on the other side.
Yep. Yeah, I would say that goes.
Lou, you want to pop in?
Well, mine, I put, I don't know. I haven't done my colors yet at all, so this is good for me. But I had vibrant and alive. It's when I think about culture in an organization. So, and so I guess that would be somehow between, a green, growth, it's refreshing. It's also could be something orange, rejuvenating. I don't know. I have to keep playing with it. I know I found another chart that's like really vast and has lots of words and more colors. So I'm gonna play with those.
Well, I know you said you also love the aqua, and so there's your trust and honesty when you're building a future. I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
Marcia, you want to pop in?
Yeah, my words were encouragement, hope, excitement, and relevant. And in looking at the chart, and on my website, my logo goes from the orange to the red to the gold or the yellow, and so it's pretty much in line there. Because I also look at optimistic as being hopeful and whatnot. But part of my tagline is ignite, and so I like that rejuvenating in there, the passion and energy and so on, and all that encompassed in the friendliness. So it looks like my words do match what my logo already is.
We had chosen 4 colors for the Karen board. Allie and Janie had helped me choose 4 colors for the Karen board website before we had really chosen an image. And it's interesting to see how the image kind of popped up with those colors and the words are aligning. It's really great. So Allie and Barb, y'all want to pop in before we say, oh, yeah, Allie and Barb. Allie first.
I wrote in the chat box a question for Janie. Based on the emotions I wrote, the colors from the wheel would be orange, friendliness, yellow, optimism, green, hope, blue, trust, purple, royalty, red, action. How would I choose colors and make a color scheme from all of that?
Well, that's a good question, Allie, but you can combine colors like a lighter orange can also represent the yellow, and a darker purple can bring in some of the red, and then an aqua can combine the blue and the greens. I'm going to go to this other color wheel, and you can see that there are in between colors. Those aren't just the colors. You can go to these colors here to bring in some of those other emotions and to narrow down the field, and just choose which of those emotions are the most important ones, and go full strength on that, and then combine some of the other emotions into your secondary colors. So say we see for you the hope, the green hope is the most important. Then you can use this green for the hope, and then maybe this blue violet would combine your purple and blue emotions together, and then maybe and you can still do your themes this way. Also, you can do like you'd have to play around with it and see which ones go together, but definitely you can still evoke all of those emotions. And some of these emotions overlap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like for instance, on this, if you look at this color wheel, you've got optimistic over here and optimism here.
Mm-hmm.
This is just one version of an emotion color wheel. If you go to Pinterest, you'll find a ton of different versions of emotional infographics about color emotion. So
let's get Barb in here. And I mean, I think we all started at different places. This is the beauty of a design team and the graphic designer like Janie and this whole, someone who understands this in a bigger picture than we do, is it kind of doesn't matter, in my opinion. Kind of doesn't matter where we started. I mean, what if you started with your favorite color? Or what if you started with a favorite image? Like for our Rhema Counseling Associates, it's the image of the 6 of us and our family. They can help you as you talk to them, kind of pull it all together and make it work. And it's progressive. It evolves over time. Barb, have you popped in on us?
Yes, I have.
Let's get something let's hear from you, and then we're going to say goodbye so we don't run too far over.
Okay, I'll be quick. So encouraging, empowering, educational, honest, Holy Spirit led would be my facets as an editor. And on my website design, when Elena redid them for me, purple is the major color, and then also with the yellow and the gold. So I think that kind of fits. So my next challenge will be for my publishing company to see what that looks like. So I'll be a whole different thing.
You haven't chosen any colors or images or anything for that just yet, right?
I kind of have an idea in my head, but it hasn't translated to the paper yet.
And what's the name of it?
Hollis House Publishing. So what I see actually are the 2 pillars of the temple, because it will be both ministry and business, and use HH for Hollis House. So fairly simple, but very representative. So
I love it. I mean, I wrote down it's progressive, right? We can change these things as we go. I know we don't want to change anything too drastically, but until I'm Nike and everybody understands the swoosh. I love what Kim said earlier about her husband bought a new pair of Nikes and was mad because they put the name Nike on there. He was like, we get the swoosh. I just want the swoosh. I don't want a name in there. And until I get to that point, I can evolve and change. And you can see Janie showing us how they had even changed over time and still do. So I love that about it. Thanks, Janie. I appreciate it. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you.
Pray us out and pop us out of here pretty quickly. And y'all, congratulations. Janie has a big deal, a big 3-month job coming up. So we're excited for her.
Yeah. Thanks.
It means not less time for coffee and lunch with me, but hey, I'll sacrifice. Father God, we're grateful for just a broader view of branding and who we are and how we present ourselves. It's important. We're grateful for Janie and the time that she's spent on this and for the insights that you've given each of us as we've listened. Lord, prepare us for the rest of the month and for, I know, school starting and new jobs and things coming up as well. May all we do, Lord, bring you glory and honor and pleasure in every way. What more could we ask? And we ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.